Do you ever feel like you are in a spiritual warfare? Do you feel almost like you are battling forces? Maybe you are going through the hardest time of your life. Maybe you're struggling in your relationships, or maybe a loved one has transitioned, or maybe you've lost your job. Whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is, the hardest thing that you're going through right now, I know that this is a spiritual warfare. This really is a war within. It's a supernatural war within, a war between the light and the dark, a war between the good and the bad, a war to fight for what is right. So if you're ready to lay down the sword of the earthly realm and you're ready to really step into your true power, you definitely want to listen to this podcast. Welcome to the Dr. Erin podcast. This is a top spiritual psychology coach podcast to inspire and teach you how to transform your trauma, birth your soul's purpose, and manifest your dreams. Hi, I'm Dr. Erin, Doctor of Divinity. I'm committed to bringing you the best coaching tips, spiritual advice, trauma healing, and metaphysical recovery secrets. I'm here to help you monetize your spiritual gifts and love your life. I want you to know that I've been exactly where you are, and I believe in you. Together, we're awakening the world. Hi, my soul family. I am super excited to dive deep into what is spiritual warfare? How do you actually win the war within? And what does this mean for yourself and your life for you to really have victory in all areas of your life? So let's break this on down. So first we need to define what is spiritual warfare. So one definition that I found, which I really love, which is absolutely in alignment with what we teach, which is spiritual warfare is the conflict in the invisible realm that affects whatever you're going through in the physical realm. So we teach that there is a mental equivalent and a vibrational match. So no matter what's happening out there in the world, let's just think about what it is that you're going through. Maybe you're going through major depression. Maybe you are in a lot of fear. Maybe you have anxiety. Maybe you're up in the middle of the night, tossing and turning. Maybe you just found out that your partner cheated on you. Maybe you are in total conflict with family members. Or maybe you're just being really crunched to be able to handle developing your company or, looking of where you're going to live next. And you're going through a lot of stressful times. No matter what it is like, no matter if it is looking at the world out there of the possibility of having nuclear war or all the financial ups and downs or whatever's happening, this is the spiritual warfare. But guess what? It's not that. It's not any of the circumstances of your life. Because all of life is really the reflection of what's happening in mind, the division in mind. So let's break this down. So spiritual warfare is something that many traditional Christians use. We are not religious, but we definitely are spiritual. We recognize that the reality is everything's created from spirit, from your true self, from the consciousness that backs all energy. So we have to take a look at what is spiritual warfare? What is really going on? And so over the course of my life, I've witnessed myself. There's been times when I've been very sad. There's been times when I've gone through very, very hard times from, being in a relationship where I found out he cheated on me multiple times, from going through, different financial ups and downs through 2008 and going through the pandemic and being isolated, all different situations of happening, from having a stillborn to having dysfunction, from going through bulimia when I was young, from date rape, from all those times. And I watched myself and my life. And this is what I watch. There's times that I've been at complete and total spiritual warfare. And then there's been times that I literally have felt like I'm living on heaven on earth, out of body, floating through life. And so what is the common denominator in all this? So this last week, I was in a deep, deep meditation. And I'd been having some conversations with dear, dear friends, going through really intense times. One of my friends, her son is really challenging her, and they're going through that teenage time in our lives when it can be challenging with our children. Another one of my friends is going through some medical issues, and it seems like there was a commonality in our community and everywhere, that people are going through really hard times. They're being challenged through everything going on, the polarity in the world. And so I went into this deep prayer, asking for guidance, asking for whatever needs to be revealed, because we're being tested. We're being tested in all of areas of our lives, are individually, collectively, culturally, globally. We're being tested in our relationships, dividing ourselves by focusing on our differences, right? We're being tested in our finances and careers, looking to the world for our stability when we'll never find stability out there. We're being tested in our health choices, primarily suffering from the stress within. That all begins in the power of mind, right? It all begins in mind. So this is a supernatural war within. This is a war of the light and dark. This is a war of good and evil. We don't believe in a separate entity of evil. We know that it's just an inverted use of the one law. This is a war of being divided or divine. So here I am, I go into this prayer, into this meditation, and the voice comes through and it says, you're either living in the inner world or you're living in the outer world. And it was like, whoa. So there's a concept of balance, right? When I was trained in shamanism years back, along with becoming a doctor of divinity and metaphysics and everything else, as a shaman, we have what we consider one foot in the spiritual realm and one foot in the earthly realm. So my whole life, I've been trying to find balance, right? I've been finding balance of, if I just go inside and I just, pray enough and everything, then I can come out in this earthly realm and I can, do all this material status, public figure, getting verified, whatever it may be, right? World that we live in the Western world. And what I've noticed in this profound download, it was very succinct, very clear, is that there is no such thing as managing our humanhood. That's where the struggle lies. That anytime we place our power, our identity, anything in the external world, power, relationships, the amount of money in my bank account, how many likes I have, all of that, we will never have stability. We'll never win the war of our spiritual warfare. So this is the most insidious thing, okay? That the power within the mind that can create heaven on earth is the exact same power that can create hell on earth, right? So I want to read a quote that really distills down how tricky this spiritual warfare is within. It's from a gentleman named Henry Nouwen. He says, over the years, I have come to realize that the greatest trap in our life is not success, popularity, or power, but self-rejection. Listen to this. Success, popularity, and power can indeed present a great temptation, but their seductive quality often comes from the way they are part of a much more seductive thing, a much more larger temptation to self-rejection. When we have come to believe in the voice that call us worthless, unlovable, and then success, popularity, and power are easily perceived as attractive solutions, right? So imagine this, that if you feel insecure, if you reject yourself, the only way to really, really reject yourself is to try and be good enough, okay? So this is what this gentleman's saying. The real trap, however, is self-rejection. As soon as someone accuses me or criticizes me, as soon as I am rejected, left alone, or abandoned, I find myself thinking, well, that proves once again that I'm nobody. My dark side says I'm no good. I deserve to be pushed away, forgotten, rejected, or abandoned. Self-rejection is the greatest enemy of the spiritual life because it contradicts the sacred voice that calls us the beloved. Being the beloved constitutes the core truth of our existence. So let's break this on down. Spiritual warfare, we may think, well, it's going to be a separate entity out there. It's some dark entity that's taking me over, okay? No, there is no separate entity. What it looks like, spiritual warfare, is it actually so tricky that it can come in as self-rejection, meaning something happens in life, okay? Your partner cheats on you, right? Someone gets stage 4 cancer. You lose your job. Something intense happens out there, okay? And then what happens is you place your power, your self-worth, your happiness, your anything out in that circumstance of life. And by doing that, the instant that we hand our power to external things is the moment that we become disempowered, right? And in fact, we reject ourselves by basically thinking we're not enough. I'm not enough. Something's wrong with me if my partner cheats on me. Something's wrong with me. I must not be worthy of an incredible life if I have stage 4 cancer, right? Something's wrong with me. I reject myself if I lose my position or whatever it is in life. So it's a self-rejection. That's this real spiritual warfare. And in the self-rejection, we do one of two things, okay? We either become very, very like, our confidence goes down, we have shame, we question ourselves, or the equal and opposite happens as well. And it's usually one or the other. We become self-righteous in a bad way. We make our partner that cheated on us wrong. We make life wrong. We make the medical system wrong. We make whatever wrong. And we begin to become vindictive, making life wrong and becoming angry and bitter and vindictive. Okay. So we're doing it one way or the other. If we're standing in our humanhood, in our warfare, we're out there in the flesh, right? We're out there trying to win those battles. And we're making all those things our source. The financial problem is what's wrong. The government's what's wrong. The war over in Iran, that's wrong. All that stuff. We start blaming and shaming and doing all that stuff. But the real spiritual warfare, if we want to win it, as it said, put on the whole armor of God. Okay, we don't have God as a man in the sky. We have God as source within. If we put on the whole armor of God, it means that we no longer place our power into the world. We trust that whatever's happening in the world is for our growth and for our good, right? We stand firm against what a Christian might say is the devil. We do not believe in the devil. We believe there's one source and it's a misuse of energy. So we stand firm in our righteous mind, our right mind that is one in the divine mind, right? All stresses, all struggles, all of the real true war in the humanhood is against the flesh and blood. So when we place down our sword, and I'm going to ask you, right, this is what life demands us to surrender. If you place down your sword, you're no longer in the war of the humanhood and the flesh and the blood. You come to the only war there is, which is the inner war, and we come to peace. We come down and we lay down all of our earthly weapons. We know that this is a supernatural war in the field of consciousness, in the division of the mind. And as divided we fall, united we rise. And when the mind unites through deep meditation, through doing the trauma work, through uniting literally the left and right hemisphere of the brain into the oneness, connecting the heart with the head, we know that we can heal exponentially. We can absolutely turn on our miraculous aspect of ourselves. We're able to create miracles in our life, in all areas of our life. And so this is what the profound spiritual warfare is. This is a question that I have for you. Who is going to control your mind? Is it source within, or is it the world out there? Because as a man or woman thinketh, so she is. Flesh and blood is first created in the unseen world. Whatever you want to change out there has to change within the mind. This is the truth of who we are. And so in this, I know that you are a powerful, almighty spiritual being, and that whatever you are ready to win, you have to come within. If you're making someone wrong out there, they will make you wrong back. The only way to solve anything is to surrender and come to that divine inspired action within before you make any decisions and go to war out there. Okay. And so in this, just take a deep breath in together, exhaling out, just knowing the truth of right here, right now. This week's universal law in our community, because we have a universal law each week we embody, is the universal law of immortality, which is perfect for this. You are an eternal spiritual being because there is only life. This axiom is demonstrated within physics. Energy can never be destroyed. This spiritual principle has to manifest in the physical world. Therefore, our destiny is to create eternal life in the physical form, eternal life, eternal love, and eternal being. And in this universal law of immortality, I recognize awakening the oracle within you because you are source. You are ready to know the truth of who you are. Your higher self desires for you to reveal the truth of your eternal essence. You are an immortal spiritual being capable of eternal life in the physical body, in total wellness. You are the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. Any symptoms, any anxiety, any depression, any of that is Mother Nature and law and source saying, wake up, spread your wings and fly, come back to the one mind, the one heart, and the one life and one soul. We are one eternal family. No matter what's going on, you can find peace and win the war within. You can win the war within. This is a masterclass, having the pressure of developing you as the diamond that you are. And in this, I say yes to you setting yourself free, setting down your sword, and coming to the peace within. As together we say, and so it is. Thank you for tuning into the Dr. Erin podcast. If you're ready to reprogram your subconscious mind, transform your trauma, and birth your soul's calling, or if you're ready to become an accredited certified spiritual psychology coach and E4 trauma method facilitator and get trained in spiritual psychology, universal law, intergenerational trauma work, past life regression work, metaphysics of mind, and so much more, go to soulciety.com or drerin.tv. If you're receiving value from the show, I would love it if you share it with a friend and give it a 5-star review. Also, you can join me in one of my live free trainings. You can find it right on the website as well, or in my bio link across all social media. I'm drerin.tv across all platforms, drerin.tv. Have a beautiful day, and may you live your truth.